When I was 8 years old, I became convinced that someone was was living in the ceiling above my bedroom. I tried to tell my parents, but they laughed it off. They said kids imagine things, that shadows stretch in the dark, that sounds echo strangely through old houses. They told me not to worry, but I knew what I was hearing. At night, when the house finally went quiet, there would be scratching above my ceiling. At first, it was faint, almost easy to ignore, like something shifting in the attic. Then it became deliberate, slow tapping, careful, rhythmic. I told my dad, and he said it was rats. One afternoon, he pulled down the attic ladder and climbed up with a flashlight. I stood below and watched dust fall as he moved around. He knocked on the beams, shone the light into the corners, then called down to me. "There's nothing up here," he said. "See?" I nodded, but I didn't believe him, because sometimes in the middle of the night, I would wake up and see it. A shape pressed flat against the ceiling above my bed. It didn't look like someone standing. It looked like something clinging, too thin, too long. Its head was tilted sharply to one side, as if its neck couldn't support it properly. Its arms and legs were bent at angles that made my stomach twist just looking at them. It never moved. It never blinked. Just watched me. I stopped sleeping in my room after that. I begged my parents to let me sleep with them, but they said I was being dramatic. When they refused, I started sneaking into my sister's room instead. She hated it, complained that I kicked too much. I didn't care, as long as I wasn't alone. Then, one night, I made a mistake. I woke up thirsty. My sister was fast asleep, bundled tightly in her blankets. I didn't want to wake her, so I slipped out into the hallway. The house was completely silent, the kind of silence where every sound feels wrong. I walked into the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. That's when the tapping started. Not faint this time, not distant, directly above me. Tap. I froze. Tap, tap. It wasn't random anymore, it was following me. I took a step back. Tap. Another step. Tap, tap. That sickening feeling crawled up my spine. The feeling you get when you know you're being watched, even before you see anything. I looked up. It was there, pressed against the ceiling, its body twisted unnaturally. Its head was rotated completely upside down, so its face was pointed straight at me. Its mouth stretched too wide, almost like a smile. Its eyes were dark, empty, locked onto mine. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Then it began to crawl, not down, across the ceiling. Its fingers dug into the wood as it moved, joints bending the wrong way, dragging itself closer, slowly, patiently, like it had all the time in the world. I dropped the glass. It shattered on the floor, and the sound broke whatever spell I was under. I ran. I don't remember my feet touching the ground. I slammed my sister's door shut and dove under the blankets, squeezing my eyes closed. I waited for the tapping to start again. It never did. The next morning, I told my parents everything. My dad got angry, said I needed to stop making things up, but my mum didn't didn't interrupt him. She just looked at me. Later that afternoon, she convinced him to check the attic again. This time I watched. My dad climbed the ladder with his flashlight like before. At first, nothing happened. Then, he stopped moving. "What the hell?" he muttered. My mum called up to him asking what was wrong. He didn't answer. When he finally came down, his face was pale. He didn't look at me. In his hand, he was holding a piece of old yellowed paper. On it were four words, written in jagged, uneven letters. "I see you." That night, my dad nailed the attic shut. I never slept in that room again. But I don't think it mattered. Years later, after we moved out, I came across an online listing for the house. It had been renovated, fresh paint, new furniture. Everything looked normal until I saw the photo of my old bedroom. In the top corner of the ceiling, barely noticeable, was a dark stain, a stain shaped like a face, smiling. I live alone, at least I thought I did. I've lived in this apartment for just over a year. One bedroom, one bathroom, thin walls, old pipes that knock at night. Nothing unusual, nothing scary. I actually liked the quiet. After work, after noise, after people. Coming home to silence felt safe. Last night was no different. At first, I was lying in bed, lights off, phone in my hand, scrolling, not really looking. The heater hummed softly. Rain tapped against the windows, slow, dull, comforting. Then my phone vibrated. I almost ignored it. It was a text from my own number. The message said, "Don't look under the bed." I stared at the screen for too long. My phone was already in my hand. I hadn't set it down. I hadn't sent anything. No drafts, no missed calls, just that message. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because laughing felt safer. I told myself it was a glitch, a delayed message, a mistake, anything that didn't mean something else. My heart slowed, just a little. I put the phone down, face down. I turned onto my side. Then it vibrated again. This time, I didn't want to look. I forced myself to pick it up. Another message. Same number. I'm already here. I dropped the phone. It hit the floor hard. The screen lit the room for just a second. My chest tightened, like the air had thickened. My eyes moved toward the space under my bed. It looked wrong. Not darker, deeper. Like the light just stopped. I told myself it was fear. That fear was doing this, but my body didn't believe that. I grabbed a baseball bat beside the bed. I don't remember why I bought it. I was glad it was there. Slowly, I leaned over the side of the bed. The floor creaked. Hello? My voice sounded small. I looked under the bed. Nothing. Just shadow. Just dust. No movement. No sound. I exhaled. Shaky. Relieved. Get a grip, I whispered. I turned back toward the bed. That's when it touched me. Cold fingers. Wet. Clammy. They wrapped around my wrist. I screamed. I swung the bat without thinking. The grip disappeared. I stumbled back, almost fell. My wrist burned. My heart was deafening. The phone buzzed again, on the floor. I grabbed it, another message. Nice try. Now it's your turn under the bed. My hands were shaking. I looked around the room. Windows locked. Door locked. Nothing else had moved. But something was here. Something that had always been here. Watching. Waiting. I wanted to run, but the hallway outside felt worse. Dark. Empty. This place used to feel safe. I slid down the wall and sat on the floor. Bat in my hands, trying to think, trying to explain it. That's when I heard it. A whisper. Soft. Patient. Come on. Don't keep me waiting. It came from under the bed, not from the edge, from deep underneath, where the light doesn't reach. My mouth opened. No sound came out. The air felt colder, heavier, like it was pulling the warmth out of me. I backed away, slowly. Bat raised, but there was nowhere to go. Every shadow in the room leaned toward me, watching. And then I realized something. I'd been looking in the wrong place. It wasn't just under the bed, it never was. It had been watching me everywhere. At work, outside, as I slept, waiting for the night I was alone enough to notice. The phone buzzed one last time. My number. I'm inside now. The lights flickered, and I understood. It wasn't a warning, it was an announcement.